Well, good morning everyone, welcome to another podcast. I'm saltwater fly fishing today. I'm out on one of my favourite spots in the entire world. So at Mark I've been fishing for about 10 years. It's a rocky mark off into deep water. I'm out on Anglesey and it's a beautiful still morning. The tide's on its way in, looking out into the open sea, and then just stood on some rocks and a nice drop off. It's very clear indeed. I've been bass fishing actually at nights on the fly. Last couple of nights I've had 4 or 5 bass, which has been great, but I'm hoping for a pollack, a bass, or even a mackerel today if they're in. I've got my Vision Meris Solar Graphene 8-weight. I've got Vision Hero reel with 4 different line types, from a full floater down to a Sync 7. That's the Rio Outbound. I've got on the, I think it's a Hover Intermediate to Sync 5. 2 flies on. I've got a sand eel on the point, and I've got a trusty medicine fly on the dropper, which often results in a pollack or 2. I'm going to get casting, and I'll start pretty short. Fish close to the ledges, very close in to start off with. And just casting this out, check everything's in order and working, let them flies sink a bit, and then just twitch it back off the ledges, nice and steady. Nice and steady. It's very deep here. I might even swap over to the full sinker at some point. Yeah, it's getting nowhere near down that. But I have got a little got a ledge just slightly awkwardly. Let's twitch this back. I'll put out a few longer casts. There's actually a guy, I've got an exact rock which I like to fish on. There's actually a guy mackerel fishing with some feathers off there. I rarely ever see anyone here. That's the first time I've seen anyone fishing here for years. But so I've just moved around a touch. There's plenty to go out here. The fish, I don't know, they seem to move around really. So just like any rocky mark, because the tide moves around, the swells and the fish move about, you'll suddenly get into 2 or 3 and then it'll go quiet for a bit. Oh, I had a little touch then, just a little rattle on and off, just at the last minute before I picked up. Probably a little pollack. There's a few little pollack around here. You quite often get that saltwater fly fishing, just like you will in on the reservoir, just in a little hang at the end. You'll just get a grab. But I had 2 bass last night on what you call a hang. So they'd obviously followed the fly in, and just as I was picking up to give it a little roll cast, they grabbed the fly, and I was only fishing in 2 foot of water, just fishing in like a little sandbar where the tide floods. Only schoolies, but it's great fun on the fly rod all the same. Nice day for casting a fly. There's only a little bit of breeze. It's probably not the best fishing day, but at least it's overcast. It's really cloudy today. First cloudy day I've had. It's been bright sun. Yeah, it's a stunning mark, this really. Stunning place, Anglesey, if you've never been before. Beaches are amazing, beautiful. And the fishing is excellent. The saltwater fly fishing, I think, is fantastic. Great range of species, and then potentially a few big ones, and all sorts of interesting spots as well. Ah, what a beautiful morning. You can see the mountains in the distance to the left and the sea out in front of me, rocks to the right, and some headlands kind of creeping out, jutting out into the sea with the grassy, gorsy top, and then the barnacle covered rocks. Feels nice and easy fishing today, not a lot of swell about. Again, I like fishing I prefer fishing in a bit of swell. I like it when it's stormy and it's moving the tide about. I seem to fish better, but there should be a fish or two off these rocks. Right, let me just change angles a little bit. Feels nice today because there's always the chance of a rogue wave, but it's very calm today, so I'm not feeling too concerned about getting on the edges of the ledges. I have got a full life jacket and everything on, just in case I go for a swim. The tide's on its way in, so I'm going to fish up to high tide, and then I'll be fishing a couple of hours down as it goes out again. I like to fish over the ledges and the rocks as opposed to banging it out into the open sea. What I tend to do is fish over the rocks for 4 or 5 casts, and that's where I'm most likely to get a bass or a pollack. And then every 5th or 6th cast I'll bang a long one out into open sea, and that's with the chance of maybe a mackerel. I have actually seen, walking down here to where I'm fishing, there's lots of cormorants working close in. It's not often that you get a fly angler who's grateful for the sight of cormorants, but it's a good thing in this situation. It probably means there's some good shoals of sand eels that are close in, and the cormorants are feeding on them, which means there will be hopefully some bass, mackerel and pollack feeding on the sand eel. Well, I had a little argument with a rock, so I decided just to flip over to the full sinker now. Now I just need to find a ledge where I'm not going to get snagged. But this will get down in a serious way. So put the full sinker on, and my chap who was mackerel fishing from my favourite little rock has disappeared, so I've snuck round and nabbed my favourite spot now, which is lovely. So this is mega deep, and this is a 7" per second line, so it will really get down, hopefully to where there's some fish lying in wait. The casting's actually not as easy here, but I've fished all around this headland for years, exploring them. Even though the casting's a bit harder, this seems to be the spot that produces the best fish, or the most fish, and it's all generally really close in. And sometimes you'll be just twitching it back up the ledge and you actually get a follow, and you'll get a bass or a pollack just roll next to your fly, literally 2 or 3 feet in front of you, which is really exciting. Yeah, fish on straight away. Gotcha. Pollack on the dropper. Bring you in. Only a little one. Welcome all the same. Slip you back. That's first cast. Change of spots to this particular rock, and it's nondescript. Pollack on first cast on the medicine fly and the dropper. They absolutely love these little medicine fly, the smaller pollock do. Fantastic. Off the mark. And what did I cast there? I don't know, 2 rod lengths? Something like that. Again, heavy sinking line, and you're fishing up the ledges, around the ledges, just off the rocks, not out into sea. And there's plenty of these pollack, and there's some bigger ones as well, they're not all tiny. One just took the fly on the surface. Just as I was hanging to come off, obviously followed it up. Fantastic. Yeah, fish on. Oh, better fish. Better fish. Much better fish. This is a decent fish. Nice pollack. Really nice pollack. It's a beauty on the sand eel. Again, right under my feet. Come on. I can't tell you. I've been saltwater fly fishing for probably 15 years, something like that. The amount of times I've seen people feathering and lure fishing, casting, banging it out 50, 100 yards, not catching a bean, and I'm catching fish from 6 feet off the rocks. It's just no different to any other fish love feature. Mackerel, I'll give you that, they're a bit different, they do hang back, but they love features, and the feature is the rocks. So these fish are close in there, they're ambushing smaller fish from the ledges, they're feeding on crabs, all sorts. But like I say, just try a few close in off the rocks, nice and deep. That was a decent pollack, good size, brilliant, great start. It's been a great trip, this great saltwater trip, plenty of bass, that nice pollack, and still got plenty of time. Let's see if we can get something else. I'd love a mackerel, but I'm gonna have to head out into open sea a bit further with the cast, and a nice bigger bass would be good. Like I say, I had some schoolies last couple of nights, but a nice, another tap there. A lot of fish down there at the minute. I think pound for pound, probably mackerel is the hardest fighting fish. You get on a fly rod in English water. I know everyone goes for bass, but you know, a pound bass is all right. But a pound mackerel, the fight, the speed of those fish, phenomenal. So much different to catching them on heavy sea fishing gear. Retrieve I'm doing is what you call a figure of 8 really, but with a little bit of a jerk in it. Just a touch of a jerk, just to give it a little bit more movement. It's a good day, it's nice and cloudy today. Good, just touched a bit of rock there, which means that my flies are getting down lovely. Bit of weed, I think it was, a little bit of weed on the sand eel. Size wise, what's this? This is probably, I think it's a size 6. It's not huge. I don't generally fish huge saltwater flies that often. And the medicine fly's tiny, it's like a size 12. It's also got a bit of weed on it. I think I've just brushed through some kelp. Very, very clear, so the fish are going to have no problem seeing these flies at all today. I mean, I can see probably 20 feet down easy. So I'd fish like any fishing, I guess, if it was very coloured, murky water, or maybe really stormy and lots of swell. I'd probably fish a bigger fly. Yep, fish on. What's this? Little pollack. Oh, he's taking the sand eel. Greedy thing. Back you go. I mean, that was tiny. That fish wasn't too much bigger than the fly, but they like that pollack. They tend to be greedy things. Right, I've had, 3 pollack close in. I'm going to do a couple more close in casts off the ledge, and then I'm going to just wang some out. And just see, I mean, I know that guy's, I just saw a flash of a fish. Oh, he's turned at the last second. I just saw that, I know that guy's been mackerel feathering off here, so there wasn't anything in while he was fishing, but the fish can come in quickly, so it's worth tweaking a few out. I'll just, yeah, fish on. Another little pollack on the dropper, on the medicine. Go man, you. Back you go. Right, I have plenty of little pollack, so let's try and hoik some out for 10 minutes. Just going to change my position so I can get a better back cast. Can I get up there? Yes, I can. Just get in a position here so I can get some back casts, and then gonna whack some out nice and deep. Get some line off the reel. Such a good line this is. I know they're not cheap, but just a tool for doing these jobs for saltwater fly fishing. The range of lines from the full floater right down to the 7 inches a second for this kind of work. Yeah, fish on. That's come off. Another small pollack just took as I twitched it in. Right, longer cast. For doing this kind of work, they're just phenomenal. There's nothing more frustrating, and believe me, I've been there, than doing coastal fishing, saltwater and estuaries without the right kit, because like today we've got a calm day, a little bit of breeze, which is nice actually, but there's going to be days when you've got 20, 30, 40 mile an hour winds on the coast. You've got swell, you've got tides ripping through, and coming underprepared without the right gear, it just makes your session a misery. You can't get the fly out to where you want it. It won't turn over. It's landing in a heap. You know, it's not good. So I know for those that if you're just trying it for a week on holiday kind of thing, then you know you're not going to spend this kind of money on kit, and I wouldn't advise it. But when you do get into it, having the right gear just makes it so much more enjoyable, and you will catch more fish because you can get your fly out in conditions where other kit's not going to manage it. Right, putting a few longer ones out now. I've got a flat rock I stood on, which is acting as a bit of a natural line tray as well, which is good. I'm not a fan of line trays, don't like them. so I don't use them. I know they're useful, but some people love them, some people don't like them, and I personally don't like them. The last mackerel I caught from here actually was only, again, 2 or 3 rod lengths out. I remember that day clearly. It was a beautiful day, and what had happened, there was a pod of dolphins that had come into the bay chasing mackerel, and they obviously, the mackerel were bolting and coming right in. Oh yeah, fish on. Oh, it's off. The mackerel were coming right in round the rocks, and obviously as they're coming in, being mackerel, they're still feeding. So yeah, it was lovely. You got the dolphins, which I could see out at the sea, and you could see the mackerel coming in, and then we were catching them. Alright, have I lost a flea here or not? No, we're all good. I had a fish on bump, and then I think it must have just tucked into the ledge and I got snagged on it, but I've managed to pull off okay. Right, let's get some more line out. Let's try a few into this little cove here. There's a little cove to my right. Let's just try a few into there. A bit of drizzle in the air now, which is nice. Nothing following. That was a take, I think. It felt very good. It might have been a bigger pollack or even a mackerel. It was a real pull and a kick, and then obviously it just probably grabbed the tail of the sand eel and not managed to get a hook hold on it. That was interesting. Try stripping her through a few, just in case. Bass tend to like a strip fly, well they were last night anyway. They were funny fish last night, those bass. I really had to strip it quick. I think they were fixated on, I don't know whether it's crabs. There's lots of crabs in their little sandbar, and I think they're hoovering crabs, and just pulling the fly gently, they wouldn't touch it, but stripping it through, and they couldn't help themselves. Right, I'll just have a couple more longer casts, and then I'll go back to fishing the ledges, I think. Could even sit down here. This line is really getting down. So the tide is coming in, but it's not heaving in. Just looking at them where the rocks are covered now. You see the odd salmon and sea trout off here as well. You know, you'll just see you'll be fishing, and then out of the clear as day, 50 feet in front of you, there'll be a leap. I've never caught a sea trout like this at sea. I know they are picked up on the mackerel feathers from time to time. But never caught one like when I've not been trying to. Just as a bycatch, as it were. Right, I think I'll have one more. Oh, there's a flash of a fish at my sand eel there. I'll have one more cast and then chop and change again. It's exciting when you can see the flash of the fish underwater, especially when it's a big flash and something's just rolled at it or had a go at it. So kit wise, what have I gone over today? I've got the 9-foot 8 weight Vision Merisola graphene. I've got a Vision Hero, it's the cassette reel, so that's the multi-line system. That means I can travel with as many lines as I need. and I've got a full floater, Rio outbound, cold water, right down to a sink 7 full sinker. Obviously I've got a few more bits of kit. I've got the Fish Bond fully submersible rucksack, so if it gets a wave over it, then everything stays nice and dry. Pretty much it really. A wallet for my saltwater flies, and a nice big cup of coffee, a flask of coffee, sorry, which I'm going to have a sip from now. The only other bit of kit, obviously hat and glasses I keep on at all times, protecting myself, especially when there's a bit of wind about. The only other bit of kit that's not often thought of, and I cannot recommend highly enough, is a really, really good pair of hard-soled, grippy walking boots. So you're walking over these rocks. These aren't too bad today. They're not too slippy. But you want something with really good support and grip for getting over the rocks, and it makes your day so much more pleasant. Right, I'm going to just put a new fly on. Just check these are all right, and then have a sip of coffee and get back to it. The only other thing I don't think I've mentioned is my leader setup, and it couldn't be simpler. So all I use is £10 fluorocarbon. I use Rio Fluoroflex, but it doesn't matter, you can use whatever you want for this. These fish are not leader shy. So £10 fluoro, and then I'll just vary the length of the fluoro according to the line I've got on. So I've got a full sinker at the minute, so I'll be fishing a short leader of probably 3 foot. And then full floater, I'll be kind of between 6 and kind of 8 feet normally. Nothing special. There's no need to worry about leaders when you're saltwater fly fishing. £10 will catch me anything I need to catch, and it'll also allow me to pull things up the rocks if I have to. So you bear that in mind. You might have to actually lift the dead weight of the fish to get it out the sea. So £10, I'd love to catch a £10 bass here, but it's going to be unlikely. Maybe a 3-4 pounder, and I can pull that up quickly, just a last foot or two, and get it into a rock pool to deal with it. Right, I've changed flies back to the little medicine on the dropper, and I'm just going to fish the ledges again now. I'll fish the ledges for another 15-20 minutes, and then I'll go back to putting some out further, see if there's a mackerel or two there. Oh, there's is that a seal out there? Or was that a salmon jumping? Something's just come right up and arched out the water and gone back. Wasn't a bird. I think that could have been a fish. And there's a fair way out. I think that was probably a salmon. I just saw another little pollack there. Again, just following the fly up and having a little look. So I think we're probably at high tide now, I'd say. Let's have a look. I think so, yeah, about there. It's kind of a little bit quiet now. It could be because it's high tide and everything's settled a bit. The fish will come on off and on the feed during the day, just as they just move around the rocks. As the fish get pushed around, they'll appear in different locations, as it were. You get that here. I've always had that. You'll get like an hour where you get nothing, and then like I had 4 fish in the first 20 minutes, and then it'll just go off. Right, just for a bit of fun, I've caught plenty of fish. I'm happy, so I'm just going to try a few different things. I've just put on a bigger fly, big sandy up at size 2. Still not huge. Just to see if there's anything bigger that maybe has been not moving for my smaller flies that wants to have a little look at this one. So I'm putting some longer casts out as well. I've moved spots so I can really get a good casting angle, and I'm fishing still off the ledge, but I'm running a long cast along the ledge, and I'm stripping it fairly quick. I'm thinking of bass here really, just to see if there's a bass down there that wants to nail it. Oh, there's a big shoal of sand eel coming past me, probably about 5 or 6 feet down. And just see them. Good to see. Oh, someone's having a look. Something came up from the ledge beneath me and had a little look at that sand eel then. I think it was just another pollack, half decent one. Don't think it was a bass. I saw a glint of browny gold. Well, it's gone a bit quiet. All the action was in the first half an hour, just as the tide finished coming in. I think the tide's gone a bit flat, the feeding's gone a bit flat, so I think I'll call it a day for the podcast. I'm going to sit and have the rest of my coffee and a sandwich, wait for this tide to start going out and moving again, and hopefully that'll push a few fish around and I'll get into a few more then. Well, thank you so much for listening, and as ever, for our online store, it's shop.peaksflyfishing.com, and for tuition, lessons, guiding, etc., it's www.peaksflyfishing.com. And please do, if you're ever in Sheffield, call into the shop, come and say hello. It'd be lovely to see you. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye bye.